trying to give the kids more fruit, to be honest. Girls, can you come and get your watermelon? Here you go, babies. Can you take some kitchen towel with you? Hold on. Here, baby. There you go. There you go, baby.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Should we go show you the garage? Do you want to see it? The garage was meant to be finished by Christmas, and Christmas is in 6 days, and it's far from finished. I have not been the best project manager. It's totally my fault. It's totally my fault. It's totally. I've done what I tell everyone not to do, but then I'm not giving myself a hard time about it because I know what I should have done, and I just didn't give myself enough time to plan it in advance. So I gave my contractor a scope of works, and it has just changed along the way. I'm like, ooh, should we just add that little detail, and should we just do that? And obviously I hadn't ordered anything at all, so I sort of left all the ordering to the last minute. I mean, even just last week I was still choosing what wall lights to put inside. Hasn't been painted. I haven't even ordered the paint yet. So yeah, my contractor came in the other day and he was like, so it is going to cost a bit more than we originally quoted. And I was like, okay, tell me in January. Don't tell me now. Just let's talk about it in January. He's like, okay.
Hi, darling. It's only Mummy. I just wondered how you were doing, whether you'd got home okay. Well, I hope you've got... Well, I don't know whether you've got home by now. Well, I sure would hope so. Anyway, thank you, darling, for everything yesterday and today. And it was lovely of you to come. I just hope your man gets better very soon. And hope he gets away and has a good trip. Okay, darling, lots of love to you and the girls and Brad, obviously. Lots of love, darling. Bye.
Oh, little mummy. Little Moomin. We gave her yesterday for her 80th birthday. We got her like a bird feeder. You know, those lovely like ones you hang different birds feeders on and little fat balls and things. We put it in her garden, and because since my dad died, she always thinks she sees a robin. That's my dad. So I got her this robin mix. It's literally a bird feed just for robins, and she loved it. It's such a lovely present. We put it in her garden for her to enjoy. Oh, there he is. Hello, my love.
No.
Windows are in, although there's like two missing. Can you see the missing bits on it, which is really odd? The glazing bars have like fallen off somewhere, which is a bit annoying. So one thing I can't get my head around at the moment, they've put the boarding up on the side, and this boarding is like, it's called black larch, so it's been like sort of got this nice finish on it. Problem is, this is meant to be white. The whole point was that the garage was meant to be, we're now calling it the Cottage, and it was meant to be white, and then it was going to have dark green windows and doors. But what's that?
I don't know.
Yeah. I got back basically one day and this was going up, and I was like, why is it going up black? Why would you bother buying black stained timber that's going to be painted white? And he got it wrong off the scope. So, and now, but the problem is I'm now seeing it black. I'm like, God, do I like it black? New window obviously has gone in here. Underneath here is a really lovely stable door, which is going to be painted dark green, and the handle has gone on. So it's stable door just so we can open half of it in the summer months when we're doing various things in here. As I said, the plan is that we're going to be moving in here when we come to do the house. How practical that's going to be, I don't know. Another thing is that we were going to take this timber all the way to the edge here and block this in completely. But actually, if we did that, you can't see our lovely new stable door, like garage doors. It seems a bit of a shame to block it in. It's only because I just can't stand this orange modern brick. So what we're going to do is leave it open, but we're going to clad this as well. So this will all be clad, and it'll have timber clad under this overhang area here. Under here is a Parker Howley vanity unit. I've done something quite fun with, I feel like I shouldn't start messing around with their things. I've done something really fun with a splashback, where it's a lovely painted unit, and then the top I've done a sort of lovely dark oak splashback that wraps around, which is really beautiful. I want the cottage to feel a little bit more, you know, cottagey and traditional, and a bit different to what the house will be like. A little bit like it's sort of always been here. Do you know what I mean? It'll have a lot of charm. Here. So this is the flooring. This is by a terracotta by Capietra, and you can see we've done this really lovely pattern of like soldier bricks laid in threes. I always find terracotta's just got such a lovely, it's got such a lovely natural texture, but it also adds so much warmth. And I was debating for ages whether I went with a more of a like a cobble in here, or something like a like a dark stone. But actually, I decided on terracotta just to add a bit of warmth, and it still feels a little bit outdoor indoor. We've put up this. So these are the lovely garage doors that I got. I had a lot of fun with these because you'd think I know these things, but I don't know a lot about locks. I had to learn quite a lot doing my own project with things like these hinges, because the original hinges that I chose were about 8 inches long, and my contractor said if you went with 8-inch hinges like this, then your doors would fall off. So we've had to go with these lovely big hinges, which actually look really cool. I was a bit worried about them, and I'm going to paint the doors a very dark green, which is one of our coat paints colours. But they look lovely. I'm really, really chuffed with those. They're really special. Got two beautiful wall lanterns that are going to go on either side, and then here we'll build our log store. So this will be where all the logs are piled up, which I think is going to look so cool. In here I've selected a 200mm V-groove panelling. I tend to, in small spaces, either you want it to feel small or you want it to feel big. And if you want it to feel big, then you tend to want to go wider on your panelling. So 200mm is about as wide as I would probably go. But it's lovely and wide, and it gives the illusion of more space, which I think it's done really beautifully in here. This hasn't been painted yet, so they're going to start painting this on Monday. And so I've taken the V-groove all the way around and then up onto the ceiling, and then put these beams in, which I do on so many of our projects. And the reason I add beams like this is to add visual interest. The ceiling, I like to call the fifth wall. It is literally your fifth wall, and I think it's so easily forgotten. So many people forget the ceiling, and actually it's such a nice way to add real depth and interest into a space. So we've added these ceiling beams in across here, which are really shallow because the ceiling's not particularly high. So it just adds a sort of fun grid effect on the ceiling, which looks really cool. All flush mount fittings, no downlights. Got some really lovely lights actually selected for in here. And the kitchen has now just gone, literally just gone in this week, which is so exciting. As I said, I was going to have this ready for Christmas because I wanted to be able to use the fridge and things for overflow booze. But I don't think, let me just show a little peek actually of the kitchen. Probably shouldn't pull it off. Should I pull it off? Can you see it's got these details? It's really, this is a real risk actually taking this colour. It's a sort of creamy, very light creamy oatmeal colour. And I just thought it would really complement the terracotta on the floor, because that's obviously so warm. I originally had visions of this being like a really dark red, like a burgundy red kitchen. and I wanted to have a dark wood worktop, and then some lovely little Delft tiles behind as a splashback. But actually, because I went terracotta on the floor, I thought that would all be too warm to sort of have terracotta and then red on the kitchen. So very last minute, I decided to go this colour, and I think it's going to look really effective. I'm still having a reclaimed dark wood top that's going to be stained oak, and then I'll probably do some tiles up to about sort of here, splashback tiles. Underneath the stairs, which are still to go in, that's going to be last because the wood floor has just arrived. So the wood floor is going to go in next week on all the stairs, and then they'll build the banister and the handrail. And then underneath the stairs, I'm going to have wine storage. Can never have too much wine storage. But it's lovely, and I've splurged on the kitchen, on the cooker, which again I wasn't going to do. So it's really, this is another thing, and I think I'm obviously an interior designer. I'm very fortunate that I have amazing contacts, and I've got great suppliers who have been really generous with me on this project. But it's actually quite astonishing how much things have gone up in price in the last 4 or 5 years, especially since Brexit. When I first wanted to do this little project, in my mind I had about 50 grand to do the garage, and it will now be double that. So all in, including all the supply, and that's me, getting things as sort of trade prices, but with my contract cost, the new windows and doors, it's going to be about 100 grand to do this project. I have to be like, I guess the challenge for me with this little project was that we're doing it in a way that you could live here, we could rent this out, it'll be great for the kids going forward, as they grow up. And I wanted it to be a space that you could actually live in, and therefore I didn't want to just half-arse it. And obviously what I do as well, I've got, I sort of see all these lovely things every day, and it's sort of quite hard to not want to do that for myself. But we are still working on a budget. And because of where we are in the house is actually, it's a really interesting footprint, because the house doesn't have a back garden, it only has a front garden and then the paddock. And interestingly, because the plot, they call it the sort of the plot size, the plot that the house sits on isn't actually that big. And therefore the advice that we've had is that there is a ceiling on how much we would ever get back for this house. And I never wanted to spend more on the works of the house and the garage than I would ever make back. I think these days it's hard to make good money on a project, on a house. It's not like the old days, our parents, even 10 years ago, but I feel like it used to be so easy to buy a project, live in it. The cost, the value of the house would be increasing, and the cost of doing it up would be relative, that you would always, when you went to turn it, in 10, 15 years' time, you'd always make profit. I guess we're sort of getting quite squeezed across the board, and it's now I just see this as a project, that this is our forever home, for I want to really enjoy it while we're living here. And will we ever make money on the way out? I don't know the way we're going, because if I've already spent 100k on this cottage, when we come to do the house, we've already spent quite a significant amount of money on doing the windows and doors and a couple of the bedrooms already, so we might never see, certainly won't ever see any profit, but I'm hoping to not lose any money on the house. But I just want to be able to enjoy it. I think home is the most important place, and I want to really love this house. This was a space that we were never able to use before. It was just a cold, gloomy garage that was just full of crap. And now it's going to be a really fully functioning, useful space that we can use. It's a really multifunctional space. So I've realised that as I started doing it, yes, it's ended up costing probably 20,000 more than I should have spent on it. But I'm okay with that. And I think you have to be okay with that. I think you can't, I'm certainly not going to go after the contractor and say, I thought you said it was going to be this much, because I have ended up changing my mind on things, and I myself have run late on delivery of things, and I've made additions along the way. So, but it'll be worth it, and that's the most important thing. So. this is called a closed stringer. So closed stringer means that you can't see your treads of the staircase behind. An open stringer is where you have, like this, you'll actually see your treads like that, which is a really lovely detail. Again, it's a little bit more traditional, which I prefer, but waste not, want not. This is what we've got, and we're going to make it work, and it's going to look lovely. So there we go. So the biggest change in here is obviously these dormer windows. You can now actually walk up to the window and look out into the garden and at the view, which has just totally transformed this space and made it feel so usable and livable. And honestly, I'm so excited about this room. So we've got this lovely wallpaper that's going to be going up and over here. The panelling, we're continuing. So underneath here, we've got this is like eave storage that we've tucked in here to maximise the storage wherever possible. Eave storage under here, storage behind here as well for Christmas decks and all that crap. And then again behind here, couple of little, these are obviously the beds, which are just so cool. This is where I got carried away, guys. So I am my own worst enemy. We've got all these little corbels and things here, which I added again last minute, which the joiner was so excited about doing. But obviously this is like a day's work. And also even the shelves, I suddenly thought, wouldn't it be fun to add like a lovely bullnose detail to the shelves, which could have just been straight square shelves, but no. Again, all of this detailing you can see around the edges is detailing that costs time and money. But when it's done and when it's painted, it's going to look absolutely, it's just going to look magical. Actually, I've got no lights up here yet, guys, so I'm sorry it's so dark in here. But hopefully you can get a good impression, a good idea of what this is going to look like. I feel like I should hold back what colour this is going to be. I feel like I'm not going to tell you. You're just going to have to wait and see what this is all going to look like. But it's going to be pretty magical. We could have made this a double bedroom and just left it as a, for a couple. However, I really wanted to make this a really fun place for the kids as they got older and if they have sleepovers. And so what I've done is the first bed is just going to be a single bed, standard single. And then the second bed is going to have a trundle, so the bottom drawer pulls out and then it slightly pops up on little legs to make a double bed. So this will actually be a double bed when it's pulled out, which is going to be great. So you can actually get three sleepers up here. I've taken a risk on the tiles in the shower, and I'm not going to show you actually. I'm going to wait. You're going to have to wait and see, probably until the next episode. But I've chosen these tiles, and I'm just not sure. I've sort of had sleepless nights about them because they're slightly out there. But wait and see. They're in those boxes, and I don't really know if I like them, I'll be honest. But the girls in the office, they pushed me to do it. They were like, you should just do it, go for it. And I was like, oh God, okay, I'll do it. So we'll have to see. Wish me luck.